It's about a minute to 4 p.m. Thank you so much for joining us on News Now, where we tell you all the stories that are making headlines right now, and it starts now with the highlights. The highlights. President William Ruto presides over the pass-out parade of 1,200 new Kenya wildlife rangers.
This day is particularly significant as the KWS marks a historic milestone in the progress of our national wildlife conservation efforts.
Also, civil societies call on President William Ruto to fulfill devolved functions of healthcare to county governments amid a hue and cry on the social health authorities functioning. And leadership wrangles continue at the University of Nairobi as the National Assembly Committee on Education sets camp at the institution.
The issues that came up was the issue of management, that the council was running the university using an illegal entity.
Welcome once again to this live broadcast. My name is Ibak Said. To start us off, Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka now argues that the delayed reconstitution of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission is a deliberate move to serve selfish interests in the 2027 general elections. The Wiper leader insists that reconstituting the IEBC is a matter of national urgency, and Kalonzo further warned Senate against proposed amendments that could disrupt live streaming of election results, claiming that the move would return the country to an era of opacity and distrust in the electoral process.
The time to get things right and ready is right now. Regrettably, this discourse is side-blinded by the fact that IEBC is not functional. Less than 3 years to the 2027 general elections. We are therefore holding this very important conference with a malformed, indeed not malformed. Arjan is here. He cannot be IEBC. I urge those who are standing in the way of reconstituting IEBC to be able to see the bigger picture. They should set aside their narrow selfish interests in preference to the greater good of this nation. Please allow us to reconstitute IEBC as soon as possible. Please allow us. We want the Commission to begin working towards credible use of technology, among other preparatory calls, in readiness for a credible election.
All right. Now, the University of Nairobi Council is facing criticism for choosing to select a chief operating officer whose academic credentials have been questioned, despite an advice from the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. The council named Brian Ouma the institution's acting COO in July, with the responsibility of administering the university's daily operations and supervising all administrative non-academic departments. During its visit to the university, the National Assembly Committee on Education said that the council had not prepared to provide requisite documents and information to ascertain Brian Ouma's qualification, giving them 1 week to prepare again.
Yeah.
Mine is on the pending bills.
The issues that came up was the issue of management, that the council was running the university using an illegal entity that does not follow the Universities Act and the university statutes. And therefore, we felt as a Committee of Education that because the council alluded that they didn't have enough time to prepare, we have agreed that we are giving them up to next week, Thursday, when we are going to meet. We shall notify the council and management, our meeting place.
Here at the University of Nairobi, we are actually brewing a disaster. This institution should not, and I want to repeat, it should not be allowed to go down because of a few individuals. And we take umbrage to the fact that it has actually taken this long for the University Council to even address this matter.
Governance is a challenge across all universities in this country. And we must kill this virus. There's a virus running across university management. When you have everyone in acting capacity in a university of this magnitude, and us as staff and union, we are so deeply concerned because we can see the deterioration of the university in our eyes.
This gentleman, who is now holding the position of COO, how did he get in the first place of the University of Nairobi? Because he came in as Deputy Director Advancement. But before that, he was the PA and the driver to the Chancellor. Former Chancellor. You can imagine a driver now being given a position of COO, and before that he was given a position of Deputy Director Advancement.
Right. Good news for the aviation cargo sector after the country witnessed the arrival of the newest layer in the sector, Challenge Airlines, which will connect Nairobi to Tel Aviv with 2 flights weekly. Challenge Airlines, represented in Kenya by GSA Global Aviation Cargo, will focus on general cargo aviation. The milestone event was graced by the Cabinet Secretary for Transport and Infrastructure, Davis Churcher, as GSA Global Aviation Chief Executive Officer Richard Yegon was also there, and top officials from the Kenya Airports Authority. Challenge Airlines' entry into the Kenyan market underscores the growing confidence in JKIA as a premier cargo hub in the region.
This inaugural flight is very important because it is its first time to land in Kenya here. And as you know, very recently we were having a lot of challenges when it comes to the issues of having all the flowers out of Kenya here. This is a constrained market where we need a lot of freighters. I don't know whether you are aware that most of the carriers had pulled out of Nairobi because of most lucrative routes. That is Asia, the Far East, and the Europe and the Americas. Because those routes, they go up to $10 per kilo. While here in Kenya and most African countries, we are charging as low as $2.5, $2, up to $3. So when you compare with other countries like the one I'm talking about, the e-commerce is the one which is very lucrative, and it's happening between the Asia, Europe, and the Americas. The routes we are flying to is, this aircraft has just originated from Tel Aviv here, and then from Nairobi here it is going back to Tel Aviv, and proceed onwards to Belgium, an airport called Liège. So this carrier flies to very many areas. In the next 5-10 years, watch this space. We have started with 2 frequencies weekly, and I believe in due course we will be having around 5 frequencies, and going forward even maybe a daily flight.
The Kenyan Devolution Civil Society Organization Working Group has urged the national government in fulfilling dictates of the 2010 Constitution by transferring all devolved functions to the county governments. Now, the group led by Colonel Oduor associated the deteriorating healthcare services in public sector with the government's laxity in this particular sector and urged it to fulfill its promises to transfer devolved functions, a promise they say the president has made twice but failed to carry it out. Among the functions they are calling for transfer include regional development authorities, the Kenya Forest Services, Water Resources Management Authorities, and the Kenya Urban Roads Authority to county roads.
This report is with the AG, the Attorney General. It was our expectation kwamba by now these will have moved to Parliament for legislation to facilitate full transfer of functions. So we are concerned as civil society it's taking too long, and now it's being reduced to a political negotiation process when it was clearly provided that these functions ought to be transferred to facilitate effective devolution.
We need to find out, when it comes to agriculture, what policy remains at the national level, what technical expertise is required to ensure that there is continuity. We realize over 500 functions are still with the national government. When that happens, it means the resources are still with the principal secretaries of the national government, as opposed to the governor and the county secretaries.
We still have regional development agencies that still undertake functions such as water supply, agricultural activities, which are clearly assigned to counties in the Constitution of Kenya. We also know that there is primary healthcare, which we have seen lately, the national government still encroaching into that function, if the case for community health promoters is to go by.
Residents of Manguo village, Nyahururu, were left stunned after discovering that a horse reported missing on Monday evening has been slaughtered by unknown individuals. The grisly scene was found near Manguo's slaughterhouse, deepening fears among locals about the safety of consuming meat sold in the area. The alarming incident has left locals in distress and in fear of theft of their livestock. Concerned residents are now calling on authorities to take decisive action to curb livestock theft and safeguard their livelihoods.
Nimeshtuka sana kukuta farasi yangu imeshinjwa na si ya pesa kidogo. Asubuhi kwenye ilikuwa tumeenda kuiangalia tukakuta hayuko. Tulikuwa sasa tunatafuta. Ndio nikapigiwa simu nikaambia kuna farasi imeshinjwa na hapa.
We want to condemn this issue because we are wishing our community the very best when it comes to hygiene, because we want them to have the good meat that is of high standard.
Wametuharibia kazi sana. Sifa. Sasa Manguo watu hawawezi kula nyama hivi ovyo ovyo. Hata hizi sehemu zingine Maironi ama wapi. Wametuharibia kazi sana.
Hiyo kitu imetuudhi na tumekasirika sana. Mimi nimepigiwa simu saa hizi nikaambiwa kuna farasi imechinjwa. Inaitwa Melissa. Na hii Melissa hii ndio wazazi wa hizo zingine, tuko na farasi zinakaa kadhaa. Ni farasi mingi. Hiyo kitu imetuudhi. Na kama huyo mtu angeshikwa tungefurahia sana.
Deputy President Kithure Kindiki has lauded Kenya's friendship with China, at the same time highlighting several significant and impactful infrastructural projects in Kenya that have been realized through bilateral programs between the two countries. Speaking during his meeting with China's outgoing ambassador to Kenya, Zhou Pingjian, at his official residence in Karen, Kindiki expressed his optimism of more subsequent partnerships with China. On his part, Ambassador Ping Jinshan lauded the progress made by Kenya through the diplomatic engagements by the two countries.
The Chinese government has provided scholarships to well in your next assignment. Wish your country well. Wish your presidents and the leadership of China well and the people of China. And I just forgot to note that we've had actually during your tenure high-level visits, quite high-level visits. The party level, just recently we hosted one of the senior leaders of the party who came to visit our party, supported our party headquarters and we found that quite instructive. And therefore the high level of visits are a testament of the growing friendship, the growing strength of our friendship and relationship, and we don't take it for granted. You've done a good job. The people of Kenya love you, they will miss you, but we are telling them you are just going to Beijing. We can always call on you when we need support in the days to come. Thank you very much.
And Kenya was a friendly country even at that time, so we really appreciate Kenya's principled position, and we support each other on these issues of our core concern. Your Excellency, I love Kenya. I was here between 2008 and 11. So adding together, I spent more time in Kenya than in my village. So I consider myself a friend of Kenya. I'm leaving Kenya with a heart full of gratitude and reluctance. I will always remain a goodwill ambassador. Nakushukuru, Mheshimiwa Naibu Rais.
Right. People living with disabilities in Bungoma County have slammed the national government over discrimination in public offices whenever they seek employment or even services. Speaking after the national function which was held in Bungoma town led by Labour and Social Protection Cabinet Secretary Alfred Mutua, stakeholders decried that even after 20 years of recognition in the country, they still face a myriad of challenges.
Ningependa kumwomba Rais Daktari William Samoei Ruto. Amefanya mazuri kwa watu wanaoishi na ulemavu, lakini bado tuna changamoto ambazo tunapitia. Changamoto ya kwanza, Rais Daktari William Samoei Ruto, hawa walemavu kupata kazi katika afisi Kenya hii ni shida kubwa zaidi. Jambo la pili, kuna utepetevu katika afisi hizi. Mlemavu akiingia ndani katika ofisi hii kutafuta kazi, achukuliwi kama mtu wa kawaida. Jambo jingine ambalo ningependa kuomba rais na serikali za magatuzi, ni lazima wafuate kanuni zilizowekwa na katiba kwamba 5% lazima ifanye nini, ipewe watu wanaoishi na ulemavu.
Kuna mambo ya tax exemption. Tulisema wazazi wenye wako na watoto walemavu wakuwe tax exempted. Alafu tumeomba diapers na sanitary towels zipatikane kwa county. Tukue hata na kadi ambayo tukienda therapy tukue tukipewa, tukichukulia watoto wetu. Ile kitu kingine tunaomba shule zikuje. Wazazi wetu kama caregivers wanaumia kwa nyumba, they can't go to work, they can't go to do anything. They are taking care of our kids. So tunaomba kukue na mahali kama daycare ama center ya shule ambapo watoto tutakuwa tunawaacha tukienda kazini.
Just register and look for it. Just register and wait. Within a year it's going to be a different story. Kunajua watu wanapinga kila kitu. William Ruto anapofanya kazi yake kuna wale watu wanapinga. Hivyo tu. Analaumu William Ruto kwa kila kitu. Unaona jamaa hapa anaendesha baiskeli. Anaona msichana mrembo anavuka barabara, baada ya kuangalia mbele anaanza kuangalia mrembo. Ana lose control, anaanguka chini, anasema hii serikali ya William Ruto imenyangusha. Na yeye alikuwa amepotea njia. Kila kitu anasema serikali ya William Ruto. Nawaambia kwamba hii serikali itaanza plan. And the plan is a great plan for Kenya. We've only had 2 years in office. We have 3 years.
Kwamba watu wenye ulemavu wote katika kaunti ya Bungoma wakienda assessment kwa hospitali wasilipishe chochote. They should not be charged any money. Hiyo nilizungumza jana na tayari tumefanya consultation. There will be no any mtu akikuitisha pesa, piga simu tudili na yeye.
Now, 2 people, including a minor, have been confirmed dead, while 58 others are receiving treatment at Emuhaya Sub-County Hospital in Vihiga County after a suspected food poisoning said to have occurred at a church function in the area. According to victims and the affected families, a fundraiser was held in one of the PG churches, in Luanda, where members from several other churches were invited on Sunday, and after having a meal which comprised of rice and beans, the congregants began complaining of stomach upsets as well as diarrhea.
Anasoma Emuondo Primary, alikufa asubuhi tu leo saa hii, alikufa kitu kama saa 2. Na waliokufa nyuma yake sijui ni wangapi.
So katika hiyo mkutano tuliandaliwa chakula, mchele na maharagwe na chai. Sasa tukatumia. Hapo ndio kutoka hapo saa 2 ya usiku tumbo ikaanza kuniuma. Sikuwa nimejua nini kinaendelea. Sasa kufikia asubuhi ndio nikapata wenzangu wenye tulikuwa nao. Wote pia tumbo zinauma. Ndio sasa tumbo inakata, kuhara na kutapika. Kienda kuhara unahara damu na kutapika na kichwa inagonga.
Yesterday at around 10, between 10 and 11, a patient was brought in with diarrhea. It was watery diarrhea and they were vomiting. So they were tested and admitted and stabilized. And as the stabilization started at about 11, they started coming in more numbers. So we spent the whole afternoon receiving patients. By today, we have a total of 46 who are in the ward. 2 unfortunately succumbed. And in the 46, 2 are in critical condition. and 20 of them are in the second stage where we are saying now they can at least eat or drink, and then the other 24 are very stable. However, we are very cautious not to send them home because we want to find out. We are trying to rule out if we have dysentery, cholera, or if it's just normal food contamination. So that's why we don't want to allow them to go out. So
Prime Cabinet Secretary doubling up as Cabinet Secretary for Foreign and Diaspora Affairs Musalia Mudavadi graced the 53rd National Day of the United Arab Emirates. Mudavadi emphasizing that trade, investment and diplomacy are the key pillars that strengthen the solid and powerful partnership between Kenya and the UAE. Mudavadi adding that the shared vision for development and economic growth of both nations will continue to create a promising future for the two countries.
Kenya and the United Arab Emirates established diplomatic relations in June 1982. Since then, the relationship has blossomed into a vibrant and mutually beneficial political, economic, and social partnership. Together, we have signed numerous agreements and cooperation frameworks that have fostered stronger economic and commercial ties, reinforcing our shared commitment to progress and development. Our bilateral relationship is underpinned by strong trade and investment cooperation. Let me also applaud the United Arab Emirates for hosting 30,000 Kenyans living and working in your country. The Kenyan diaspora continues to grow thanks to the Memorandum of Understanding signed in 2018 between our two countries. These Kenyans make a significant contribution to our country's development through diaspora remittances and knowledge transfer, while also bridging the demand for labor in the United Arab Emirates and Middle East.
Now, Homa Bay County has received digital X-ray machines worth 25 million Kenyan shillings from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Governor Gladys Wanga emphasized the importance of these machines in improving healthcare services, especially in remote areas.
Let me end by thanking very much CDC for the portable digital X-ray machines that you have given to us for purposes of the Sena in Fangano and as well as Ndiwa facilities. This will go a long way in improving the level of care and services that we provide to our people.
We are glad that today we've received two digital X-ray machines, which have been launched by our own governor. And we are happy that these machines are coming handy because one machine will be serving Suba West, that is Mfangano Island, and another one will be serving Ndiwa sub-county. And of course, this machine is very critical because we are able to get results instantly, unlike the other X-ray machines where you have to send the X-ray films to the radiologist who will interpret, then give you results in 2 or 3 days.
Sports News.
Let's get sporty. Kenya basketball champions Nairobi City Thunder wrote their name on the history books as they emerged as the first ever Kenyan side to qualify for the Basketball Africa, a league set for next year. This comes after the Brad IBS-led side striked past the City Oilers of Uganda's 72 points to 62 during the semi-finals of the Elite 16 East Africa Division qualifiers played on Monday night at the Kasarani Indoor Arena. The hosts will now take on Creole Stars of Cape Verde tonight, with the two teams set to represent the country in next year's BAL, starting on April 5th.
That's a crowd pleaser. Ding brings the lead up. Bami feels like it. And I understand why defensively they're trying to prevent the pick and roll to happen. Nice behind the back, Majok. Oh yes, oh yes. Driving kick. And this time around, he puts enough protein on action. They're going for the double team right away, attacking the gap. Good.
Now, the Football Kenya Federation presidential elections will be conducted this Saturday in Nairobi County. 8 aspirants are seeking to take over from Nick Mwendwa, and they include Hussein Mohamed, Tom Alila, Sam Ochola, Chris Amimo, among others. Now, these contestants will be required to have running mates in the election.
From 2018, we started by training trainers. At that time, we were not calling them educators. They were still being called trainers. We trained the first, before that, when we started training coaches, we used to call CAF instructors and FIFA instructors to come and train for us. Then through our technical department, we made a decision that we should train local trainers because we found it cheaper to do and easier to reach when you want to train people. So we trained instructors then who now have graduated, their name has graduated to trainers.
All right. Now, construction and renovation of Woodley Stadium in Kibra constituency in Nairobi County is expected to be complete by June of 2025. 4 months after a new contractor took charge of the Nairobi County facility, the field drainage system has been laid in readiness for the ballast layer. This is one of the oldest stadiums in the capital, which serves over 30 football clubs in the area. Besides Woodley Stadium, Nairobi County is also keen on Canon Apollo Stadium in Makongeni, Kihumbuni Field in Westlands, and Joe Kadenge Stadium. Dandora Stadium was completed earlier this year and currently hosts top flight league matches and other tournaments. And on that note, we conclude our updates this afternoon. Be sure that our newsroom is working on having more stories, including these, for our subsequent bulletins. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Hibak Said. Have yourselves a very lovely Tuesday afternoon.